There was a brief moment in history when a rally car on gravel was actually faster than a Formula One car on asphalt. These weren't just machines. They were 600 horsepower monsters weighing less than a small city car, fueled by rocket fuel and pure insanity. There were effectively no rules, no limits, and most terrifying of all, no barriers. Drivers were piloting missiles at 100 miles per hour, blindly trusting that a wall of human flesh would part at the very last second. This is the story of Group B. The 4 years where motorsport lost its mind, created the greatest cars ever seen, and paid the ultimate price. It started in 1982 when the FIA decided to take the shackles off. They introduced a new set of rules with almost zero restrictions, and engineers were told to build the fastest cars possible at any cost. The result was pure engineering violence. Teams started using materials meant for spaceships like Kevlar, magnesium, and titanium. They built engines that pumped out 600 horsepower inside cars that weighed as little as a paper plane. 3 legends were born. The Audi Quattro, the first car to use 4-wheel drive, which changed the sport forever. The Lancia 037, the beautiful Italian underdog. And the Peugeot 205 T16, a machine so compact it was basically an engine with a seat attached. They were so fast that drivers reported their brains could not process the visual information quickly enough. They were driving beyond the limit of human reaction. But the real danger wasn't the trees or the cliffs. It was the people. The crowds in the Group B era were suicidal. In places like Portugal and Italy, fans didn't stand behind barriers. They stood directly on the road. They formed a living, breathing wall, waiting until the car was inches away before jumping aside like matadors. They wanted to touch the machines as they flew past at 100 miles per hour. It became a blood sport. Mechanics would often find severed fingers inside the bodywork and air intakes after a stage. It was pure madness. Drivers were terrified. They weren't afraid of dying. They were afraid of killing. It all came to a breaking point on May 2nd, 1986 at the Tour de Corse. Henri Toivonen was driving the Lancia Delta S4 and dominating the rally, but the car was a monster on those narrow, twisting mountain roads. On a sharp left-hand corner, there were no skid marks, no witnesses. The Lancia simply flew off the cliffside and crashed into the trees below. The fuel tanks exploded on impact, and the fire was so intense that nothing remained of the car except a blackened tubular frame. Henri Toivonen and Sergio Cresto died instantly. The silence that followed wasn't just the end of a race, it was the end of an era. Within hours of the crash, the FIA held an emergency meeting and made a decision that shocked the world. Group B was cancelled immediately for the following season. The cars were banned. These machines would never race like this again. Today, WRC cars are fast, but they are safe. Group B remains a fever dream, a 4-year period that will never be repeated, because sometimes limits exist for a reason.